Hello and welcome back to Jules Math Tools. In our session today, we're calculating the LCM of three numbers on one division ladder when there are no common factors involved. And this is part 2 on this type of calculation. So if you're ready to see how this is done, let's get started. So today we will be calculating the LCM of our three numbers 49, 15, and 8. And we will be using a single division ladder to calculate our LCM. So when using the LCM on the division ladder, remember that we always use prime numbers only. So let's begin by using our prime number 7. Since 7 is a factor of 49, 7 will divide into 49 7 times. Since 7 can divide into 15, we will bring that number down. And same thing with the number 8. And since I'm already using 7, I will continue using the number 7 to prime factorize the numbers on my ladder. 7 divides into itself once. 7 can divide into 15, so we will also bring that number down again. And 7 won't divide into number 8, and we'll bring that number down as well. So now we begin our second number, which is 15. And because 3 is a prime number that I can divide into 15, I will begin with the number 3. I'll bring the 1 down since my first column is completely prime factorized. 3 will divide into 15 5 times, and 3 can't divide to 8 without a remainder, so we will bring the 8 down on our ladder. Now I will divide by using the number 5 since 5 is the next number on my division ladder. We will continue bringing our 1 down since our first column was completely prime factorized. We will divide 5 into 5, which will be 1, and the 8 will come down on our ladder again. Now to prime factorize the number 8, we will use the number 2, bringing down our first two ones. 2 divides into 8 will be 4. I'll continue my division using the number 4 and with the number 2, bringing down my first two ones. 2 divides into 4 twice. And we will end our division using the number 2. Bringing down our first two ones again in our column since they're completely prime factorized, and 2 will divide into 2 ones. So now that we have prime factorized our three numbers completely, we are now going to begin calculating the LCM. And one thing you need to remember when calculating the LCM and you have 3 or 4 or even 2 numbers, remember that with the LCM, unlike the HCF on a single division ladder, the LCM requires us to use all of the numbers that we use. So we will be multiplying 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5 times 7 times 7. And the crazy thing about the LCM is that with calculating the LCM, when you have a group of numbers and you're using the division ladder, you will always have a LCM. Now that number may not always be known to us. The numbers may not always be a small number. It may even be an outrageous number that we didn't even knew was possible. But when using the LCM on the division ladder, we will always have an LCM. Whereas with the factors, you may not always get a highest common factor, but you will always get an LCM. So let's work with our tools first. And we know that when cubing 2, we will get the number 8 because 2 times 2 will equal to 4, and then 4 times 2 will give us 8. So we will calculate the tools first because we know the answer to those numbers. Next, we're going to calculate our 3 times 5 and grouping these two numbers together as well, which will give us 15. And then to work our last two numbers is our number 49 from 7 times 7. I know these numbers are real familiar because these are the numbers that we began working with our question with. And now let's begin some group multiplication to begin simplifying our question. So let's start by multiplying 15 times 8. And you know I love to go through my calculations just to make sure that I am not jumping too far ahead, and that if there is anybody who may be struggling with their working, this way at least I can make sure that we are not just skipping or hopping through and just throwing numbers on the screen, and then we're left with persons who may not be, sure as to where these numbers even came from. So I love to go through my steps to make sure that the working is as clear as possible. So now let's multiply 120 by 49. So 9 times 0 will be 0. 9 times 2 will give us 8. We'll carry our 1. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 1 will give us 10. Let's cross off that 1, add in our 0, and begin multiplying by 4. So 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 2 will give us 8. And 4 times 1 will give us 4. Let's sum these numbers together. 0 plus 0 is 0. 8 plus 0 is 8. 0 plus 8 is 8. And 1 plus 4 will give us 5. So the LCM of our three numbers is 5,880. And this will be the LCM of these three numbers. And naturally, if we I don't even want to say look at their timetable, because, we wouldn't even think of this number in considering even this to be an LCM for these three numbers. But again, the division ladder is just one of those prime factorization methods that affords us the opportunity to be able to calculate and get an LCM of a number even when we don't even see the possibility or the potential of an LCM even being present. Okay, so I hope this method was very helpful to you. I hope that you do get some additional practice in, and remember that if you have a question like this where an LCM doesn't seem possible, remember to begin working through the question, do the steps that you know you should do, and then go through your basic multiplication to obtain your solution. And until next time, this is Joe's Math Tools, where we make math easy.